So let's take a quick look at kind of the membership benefits that might fall into one of these different paths, and you can start to think about which one you want to follow. So for the skill builder, you're focused on pursuing new skill building challenges to develop your abilities in areas directly related to teaching and sometimes indirectly useful to teaching as well. So there's lots of different opportunities to get involved with the membership benefits that will play out in some way to benefit your teaching. As I said, there's an early career chat that happens once a month, usually on Saturdays. It's about 30 minutes long. In these chats, they're really informal, but they're kind of an extension to your CELTA or your DIP TESOL, and they bring together a bunch of us. We can kind of create a little community of people who are in the same phase and have the same types of questions. These early career chats are very informal. They're not talks, they're not workshops. They're just places for sort of a Q&A with someone more experienced than you on topics that are really useful for new career teachers, such as how do I incorporate grammar in an interesting, engaging way? How do I make my lessons more student-centered? How do I deal with challenging circumstances or challenging learners? As an IATEFL member, you are welcome to put in a proposal to lead a webinar, and these are once a month as well. And unlike talks and workshops at the conference, these are 60 minutes long, and so it gives you an opportunity to develop your speaking skills, become a better speaker at a conference, and really just be able to address your topic to a wide variety of people in our community. If you've talked at a conference in person, you might be invited to be part of our IATEFL Themes online conference, which just gives you another opportunity to talk about your area of interest, your activities, to a group of people that may not have been able to go to the conference or certainly didn't get to see your session. IATEFL publishes Voices magazine several times a year, and it's a great opportunity for newer writers to start to think about how can I explain things in a way that a wide variety of people are going to understand? How can I disseminate my work to a broad audience? And it gives us opportunity to really work on those types of explanations in a written format. We have a career and job posting board, which can show us what types of skills employers are looking for these days. And I mentioned that there are discounts that are afforded as part of your IATEFL membership. One of those, obviously, is discounts to our IATEFL events, both in person and online themselves. But we also have some partnerships with different course providers, as well as lots of different publications that you may be able to get at a cheaper price than if you weren't an IATEFL member. The second path is the visibility path, and this one I think is for people who are seeking adventures and opportunities to boost your CV and create sort of more of a visible presence in the world of ELT. One way to do that is to apply for a scholarship to go to our conference and win that scholarship. They show a dedication to your professional development and your ability to write an application form. And by winning one, it actually is a really strong way to enhance your CV. It does give some visibility because we do post all of the winners online, so we get to know their names and what they've won. We get to see them at the conference because they're introduced during the plenary, and we get to talk to IATEFL scholarship winners throughout the conference. But I would argue, getting involved in putting out your name and your work on all the different platforms that IATEFL affords, such as Voices, writing up your work there, or IATEFL Conference Selections, which is a book that's published from people who spoke at the conference. These are places where your name gets attached to the work that you have done. And the more we see it, the more visibility you start to have, and people can start to recognize who you are and what types of expertise you have. Let's say that teaching has been great, but you would like to move into a different type of role, something that has a bit more of a leadership aspect to it. This path allows you to choose the storyline that unlocks the next chapter of your narrative by moving into contributor and leadership roles that are afforded by IATEFL membership. I mentioned earlier on that there are 16 special interest groups. So let's take young learners and teens, for example, and you are really interested in that one and you have joined that SIG. So you've been sort of hearing about people's ideas, talking with different people, reading their publications, going to their events, and now you want to be a little bit more involved in the direction of that SIG. Well, every SIG has a committee. This committee is made up of volunteers, some elected, some not. But each SIG has different roles, and these are spaces that teachers don't always have the most skills with. But once you start to do this role in this type of committee atmosphere, you really do begin to build this sort of leadership in the area that you've been focusing on, and you get to help decide the direction of the SIG. So this is one place where if you work your way up to being a coordinator, you can really become a leader in that field and get not only the leadership skills involved with choosing the direction, managing different people, managing different projects, but also that visibility that you might be looking for. If you're interested in looking for different volunteer positions, at IATEFL, we have a website, current calls for volunteers, and there's always some SIGs that are looking for new committee members. There's often elected committees outside of SIGs that are looking for volunteers as well. And there's always some elected official positions that you might want to try for too. So as a member of IATEFL, you have the opportunity to apply for all of these different leadership positions. Teaching can be kind of an isolating activity. Sometimes you go into your classroom, you plan your lessons, and you leave, and there's very little interaction with anybody else. If you're lucky, you have a staff room. Maybe you have an online space where you can collaborate. But IATEFL does, by definition, prepare spaces for community building. Multiple times I've talked about the special interest groups that exist. Depending on the IATEFL membership that you have, give you one special interest group as part of your membership. There's something for everyone here. And rather than continuing to go to the PD sessions that your school offers, where sometimes you get a superficial understanding of a topic because the speaker really does have to explain everything to the people who know the least in order to help them understand that topic. If you want to go deeper than that in a topic, where do you do that? A special interest group is a great space for that because you're going into a place where there's already people like you who have an interest in that particular area. And therefore, you can dive more deeply into those topics, have articles and webinars and other events or online spaces that allow people to build this community around a specific topic. The other thing is because you're going to get to know people, because SIGs are smaller than the sort of wider membership, obviously. You'll get to know different people and build friendships and relationships with those people that can carry you throughout your entire career. I, for example, was part of the teacher development special interest group when I started at IATEFL, met some key people who are now my friends, and we have been meeting up every single year at the conference ever since. In addition, though, we do have some online spaces that are community building. For example, our community groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. We also have IATEFL Associates, which are local teaching associations that are members of IATEFL, and they organize events that are more locally focused. So I would take a look in your area to see if your local teaching association is part of IATEFL. So once again, thank you very much for becoming a member of IATEFL, and I really hope that if you have questions about your membership, you can always reach out to me at tyson@iatefl.org. Have a wonderful experience, and I look forward to being a member with you for many years to come.